بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب زدني علما.
So now in this section, we'll try to understand about the first hop redundancy protocols. We have something like HSRP, VRRP, and GLBP. We'll try to understand what they exactly do. Okay. Now, before we get into the first hop redundancy protocols, we need to understand why we exactly require them. So let's take a simple example of floating default routes before we get into that. Like if you see here in this diagram, as you can see, there are two ISP connections. We have one connection from the ISP1 and the other one is come to ISP2. So what we can do is we can simply go to the router. Now you can see the router one is my gateway. And then we have the users connecting in the LAN 192.168.1.subnet here. So what we do is we simply go to the router one, and what I want is I want the users to be able to access internet. So we simply go and say IP route 0000 with the next hop of 1.1.1.2. Which will ensure that all the traffic for any unknown traffic from the LAN will always use the ISP1 for forwarding the traffic. And we know the default routing, how it works. So this is going to be my primary route, which I want to prefer. Now, what if the route goes down? Then it is going to be a single point of failure. So we don't want a single point of failure. So to overcome that, what we can do is I'm going to add another default route on the same router. Whereas if I'm not giving anything, the default administrator distance value will be 1. And here I can just give anything like 2 or 3 or anything more than 1. So what this means is, now in this case, automatically the ISP1 will be the primary route. This is going to be the primary route. And the primary route with a lower administrator distance. And if that fails, automatically it will switch over to the secondary route, which is the backup route with a higher AD value. In my example, that is 10. And this will be used as a secondary or the floating route whenever the primary route becomes unavailable, right? So this is something what we'll be doing, okay? So in this case, what this setup is going to do, this is going to ensure that, you have a backup connectivity, switching to the secondary route whenever the primary route fails. In our case, the starting route with a lower administrator distance, which is from the ISP1, will be the primary, and whereas the second one will be the secondary route. Okay, so this is how we can provide the redundancy. In this case, the router 1 will be sending the traffic from the ISP1 as long as it is working. If it fails, it uses the secondary route. So this example is this general example which you see in most of the production scenarios. That's a good thing. The floating default routes. If you remember in the static routing sections also, this is something already discussed. But our topic is not based on the floating default routes. Let's try to understand the problem with this setup. Now in this setup, what if the gateway goes down? So now in the previous, we have a redundancy in the previous. If the primary route fails or the ISP fails, we have a secondary route. But what if the gateway goes down? Then even if both the ISPs, like even though you see this ISP is fine, this ISP is also fine, but the user sitting in the LAN cannot go to internet because your gateway is down. So what if the gateway is down? So this will simply lead to a single point of failure because the router is acting as a gateway. Here, the router 1 for all my internal network in order to reach the internet from the ISP1 and ISP2. So that is down. So if this router fails, both the paths from ISP1 to ISP2 will not be working. So they cannot go to that. And of course, there's no redundancy for the device. As you can see, there is only one device which is acting as a gateway. We don't have redundancy, which means in this scenario, even though you have multiple links from two different ISPs, but the router is going to be a critical point which is going to connect both the ISPs or both the connections to the internet. So if that is done, then a single point of failure. Now, this is the general problem what we have with a single gateway, even though with the two ISP links. Now, what is the solution? The solution is the first hop redundancy protocol. So to prevent this complete failure, when the gateway is down, we will be using a solution called First Hop Redundancy. In that, there are three variations. We have HSRP, VRRP, GLBP. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But first, let's try to understand how the First Hop Redundancy Protocol, how it works. So let's take the same example here. I'm going to take my LAN, the user sitting in my LAN, 192.168.1 network, wants to go to internet, and I want to provide internet access. So I'm going to connect to the gateway. Let's say my gateway is router 1, 192.168.1.100. That's an IP address. And I'm going to connect to the ISP1, any one ISP. And from there, I'm ensuring that they reach the internet. Of course, I'm not talking about other things like the default routes, NAT, and other things. We already covered those in the other sections. So assuming that you already configured everything, the routing and the NAT and everything, now the user sitting in my LAN, if they want to go to internet, they just go through the ISP1. But again, I don't want a single point of failure. So what we'll do, we'll take secondary ISP. Now this time I'm going to take the second ISP. The second ISP is not going to come and connect on the same router. So you can see here, instead of connecting like this, the previous scenario, we don't have the router 2 or 3, another router. But this time we are connecting to two different routers. So we don't have single gateway. Now we have two gateways. Okay. So instead of having both the ISP connections to the same router, we are connecting to two different routers. Okay. But now the question comes, which gateway I'm going to assign. So now as we have two gateways, now you can say like for any users, I'm assigning this gateway. They all will go from this gateway, goes to the ISP and then reaches the internet. And for some users, let's say if I'm giving some users, I'm using this gateway. So they go to this gateway and reach the internet. Like let's say you have half of the users, I'm giving this gateway. For half of the users, I'm giving this gateway. Still the problem is, if this router goes down or if this ISP fails or some problem, automatically what will happen? Simply the users who are using this gateway will not be able to communicate, which means you have to go and manually change the gateway to 200. Now what happens if this gateway goes down? Again, the problem, you have to change to 100. So the frequent changes in the gateways manually is not also possible. And it's not recommended to give some users this gateway, some users that gateway. Also, it's not recommended. So what I want is I want some kind of failover process, which will automatically choose the gateway if any one gateway fails. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine with the help of First Hop Redundancy Protocols. I'm going to combine these two gateways. And these two gateways looks like one group. I'm going to make them in one group. And I'll give the address for them as another address. We call this as a virtual gateway. Now, virtual means there's no physical device with this address. It's going to represent the group of these two gateways. So we are going to select one virtual IP or the virtual gateway IP, probably from the same subnet. In my example, let's say I'm using 192.168.1.50. So for all the users, and automatically out of this group, anyone will be selected as a primary based on priority value. We'll decide that when we do the configurations. So we can make one gateway to become the primary and the other gateway to become the secondary. Okay. So which means now for all the users sitting in my LAN, I'm going to tell the gateway address is not 100. It's not 200. So I'm not going to define the gateway address as my physical gateway. So I'm going to tell everyone, hello everyone, if you want to go to outside network, you have to use this as a gateway. So I'm going to change this gateway address either on the DHCP server or you will be changing manually. But whatever the IP address thing you're using, I'm going to tell this is the gateway address. Now, automatically, whenever you give this gateway address, it will automatically start using the primary, whichever is a primary, and it will start forwarding the traffic. So which means the primary will take a primary role to forward all the traffic destined to internet. In my example, let's say this is my ISP1 running around 50 Mbps link, which I want to be the primary. Now, let's say due to some reason, if the primary gateway fails, any problem, let's say the gateway goes down or the interface goes down or some issue on the ISP, we can also use SLS. We'll talk about SLS in a separate section later on, where we can configure the reachability ISP also. So if any problem happens, we can simply, it will automatically make this as a primary. So there's a default hellos. There's a process called keep alive messages exchanged. So automatically it is going to make this as a primary, and all the traffic from the LAN will be switching over through the secondary gateway automatically without manually changing the gateways. So for everyone, you know, it's going to use this gateway that is going to become the primary because the primary is down. So automatic switch over to the gateways. So we call this as a first hop redundancy protocols. Now, why we call it as a first hop? First hop, why? Because for every user sitting in the LAN, if you want to go outside, this is your first hop. Hop means first router. And what we are doing, so the first hop is nothing but your default gateway. So for every user, we are using the first hop and we are providing the redundancy for that. Redundancy means if one fails, you have a backup option. So we need to have maintain always redundancy. And the protocols which will enable, like we'll be using different protocols like HSRP, VRRP, and GLBP. We'll see the differences a little bit. So these protocols will help us to provide redundancy for the first hop. And that's the reason we call them as the first hop redundancy protocols. So if you just simply summarize the advantages or the benefits of using this concept, because this is the mandatory concept, I can say, whenever you are connecting to internet, you will definitely use two ISPs. At the same time, you'll use two gateways. Okay. Now, in today's scenarios, mostly this can be an L3 switches that designing will see in the configuration a little bit later on. But it can be either a router or it can be an L3 switch. It depends. Okay. It depends on what device you are using as a gateway. So what are the benefits? So the main benefit, you can see the gateway redundancy. We can have two gateways so that if any one fails, automatically it will switch over to the other one without having any kind of interruption, like uninterrupted network access for all the users in the LAN, even if the primary fails due to some reason. And of course, this will give a continuous, connectivity for the users. So the users will not have any downtime. So it will be available for most of the time unless both the gateways fails at the same time. That's kind of a rare. So you have a backup router in case of any hardware failure or in case of any issues. And of course, this failover is automated, means you don't need to do it manually. If this gateway fails, it will not send any hellos. So automatically the secondary gateway will come to know the primary is down. So this will automatically switch over. We'll see that in the verification anyway when we get into the configuration. So there's no need to any kind of do manual things. And of course, if you're using GLBP, you can also do load balancing. Like you can even share the load between both the gateways if both the gateways are working. That also possible. Of course, the other advantages, like as we are using multiple routers redundancy, most of the big size enterprise networks uses this model. Of course, every organization prefers to go as per the designing standards. You must follow this. You must be using these protocols. And at the end, the other benefits we can say, like transparent to the end devices. Whatever the devices, like these are my end devices, they will be using the virtual IP, which means uh, basically they are not aware of these physical gateways at all. So the user will never come to know that there are two gateways and the gateways are switching over whenever there is a failover, whenever the primary fails. So now similar concepts you have in the firewalls also, like in ASA firewalls, you have a failover concept. Slightly the namings will differ, but at the end, it's a similar concept. Other advantages you can just say, like reliability. Of course, it will reduce the risk of a single point of failure, which will enhance the network reliability. And finally, it is more simple. It means you don't need to do a lot of complex configurations to do this. It's a simple, straightforward 3 to 4 commands. You enable on these interfaces, a more simplified configuration, which is very simple and easy to manage redundancy as well. So typically, you will be using this first hop redundancy protocols as a part of the design, enterprise designs, and this device can be a dedicated routers, or it can be switches on L3 switches, or even in some organizations it can be firewalls as well. It depends on how we do. So here in our enterprise course, we will be seeing mostly this concept what we cover. It's specifically applicable for the Cisco IWAs, because the concepts in the firewalls is totally different than here. Of course, the idea behind means uh, the design remains the same, but the concepts will totally differ there. Okay, so here we'll see in the enterprise, we'll see how we can configure or how we can implement these different types of first hop redundancy protocols, and how we can provide redundancy on Cisco IWAs relevant to Cisco routers or the Cisco switches.